Okay, I'd like to talk about the attack on the young. So what is the attack on the young? It's something that's been building up for quite some time. And when I say the young, I mean the young. Working class youth is what I mean. Where they've been demonised, drug fiends, gangs and so on. And the Conservative Party, again, all these new plans emerged, which I could have talked about in the other podcast, but I didn't want to run over my statutory 10 minutes. They're talking about really clamping down on the young, forcing them into education until probably they're in their 20s, which will mean that people will be educated into their 20s and still come out of school semi-literate, which is a sort of education they give to the working classes, or most of the working classes, or those that don't want to toe the line, which is quite a few, because what you're taught in school is crap. But the young are being demonised, and they have been demonised for years by both political parties, by the media in particular. You know, I know lots of young people, and some of them are really, I'm proud to be acquainted with them. They're full on, they're anarchists, you know, they got guts, they got brains, they got personality, and they're really nice people, you know. All right, they might get a bit drunk too much and they might have a few too many drugs, you know, but they're not nasty with it. They're all nice. They have their foibles, but they're really at the bottom of the heap. And not only are they fighting for themselves, but they're fighting for other people as well. So they're great kids. But not all kids are like this. There was the Thatcher children, the Thatcher generation, or even Thatcher's grandchildren. On Newsnight, I saw some inner city kids, mostly black. I think it was a discussion about should 16-year-olds be given the vote. And it was obviously a set-up thing when they were saying, you know, you've got this amount of money in the pot, where would you spend it, and so on. And all of them wanted to cut benefits, which is hilarious, because they're the ones, black inner city kids are the ones that are going to need benefits, because they're not going to get any good jobs, are they? They're going to get nothing. They're going to be at the bottom of the heap. And here they are saying that they want to cut benefits. There's obviously, with some young people, there's a lot of joined up thinking. And I know that with some young people as well, they really, you know, they've really fallen for it, you know. Oh, I could win on the X Factor and so on. You know, I might win the lottery, but I think X Factor, lottery, and all the other distractions, that's all it is, distractions. It's Pavlovian conditioning, and at any time you could break out of it, as a lot of young people did a couple of years ago during the so-called student riots and disturbances. With the other things as well, they were going to deny benefits to these people, and they're going to have to live with their parents until they're 25. I mean, don't the people that run the government and the state realise, you know, there's kids of 17 or 18 have got kids. They need benefits if they haven't got jobs. They need houses. They can't live with their parents. A lot of people live in already overcrowded conditions. It's ridiculous, but you know, these people, they've declared war on the young, and the young are going to suffer, and the young are going to have to get out there and fight, as they did a couple of years ago, when you had the students and the school kids out on the streets together, which I thought was one of the most fantastic things in England in the 21st century, or the early part of this 21st century. It was magnificent. I saw it myself, and I thought the kids were great, because it wasn't only students, it was school kids, and a lot of kids from the estates come down. A lot of the kids from the estates, kids that hadn't seen the inside of a school for years, and probably never would, ever again. You know, but they felt solidarity. They were alienated from the system. They came down, they wanted to join in, and they did, big style. So big, in fact, that one of the most amazing things happened. Our future king was attacked in the streets by the mob, something that hasn't happened for about 250 years. Brilliant stuff, you know. What a pity that the whole student thing petered out. But it does have an indication of what could happen in the future. But the kids can't fight by themselves. They're up against the state. They're up against heavy sentencing, the courts, the police, who were exceedingly brutal to them. And it's quite a wonder that some of these kids weren't actually killed by the police. But you see, the reason I'm interested in the attack on the young is because I think that it's leading up to an attack on the old. People like me, people in their 60s or 70s, the old age pensioners, All the stuff they're saying about the kids, they're going to say about us. Oh, that we're not producing anything. Oh, we're a drain on society. Useless mouths and so on. The very sort of stuff Nazis would say. Well, the very sort of stuff Nazis would say the main political parties will be saying in the next few years. You know, that we're not contributing, that we're taking up space and stuff like that. So I think that the young, the very young, and the very old, who haven't, remember, there are quite a few old people that are quite well off. It's a very middle class country. But there's a hell of a lot of people that are not. There's old age pensioners now that have to decide whether they heat or eat. And it's as simple as that. Aftercare for old people, I saw a thing on the television, 15 minutes they get it. This is where society decides to put its, all its effort into mollycoddling millionaires, and yet people that have worked all their lives, etc., even fought for their country, are now left to sort of rot in hospital beds without being changed, are denied food, starved to death, and so on. This is not an exaggeration. It's just one hospital. Hundreds of people have been starved to death due to negligence. Most of them old people. And old people are ignored and they're marginalised and they're nothing and they're a drain and so on. Unless, of course, they're rich. But the rich are never a drain, are they? They're always fine. We've got to look up to them. We've got to have all the laws for them. So, yeah, let's have... I remember during the student riots, well, actually it was more like the gangs and some of the school kids, they broke away before they broke away from the main student body thing. They weren't trapped, they weren't killed, and they went on a rampage in the West End. They didn't do much, a little bit of damage. There wasn't extensive looting, but they did attack the future king and so on. And I distinctly remember some old codgers I know that were in the pub while this thing was going on. Yeah, we like to go down and have a look. When these kids went on the run, they were standing outside the pub applauding them and going, "Go for it, kids." Yeah, great, go for it. That's all we say, go for it. But let's be with the kids. After all, one thing we've got in common with the kids is that we're going to become increasingly marginalised in society. Increasingly marginalised. And I think that we've got a lot to offer. The kids have got a lot to offer for us. They should support us. If they decide to abolish free bus passes and travel passes, the kids, we should get out in the streets and we want the kids to come down and support us. And yeah, we want to take it far. Yeah, the cops are good at beating up kids. Let's see how good they are beating up old age pensioners and so on. But us old age pensioners, let's unite with the kids. Because I'll tell you this, the kids are getting increasingly marginalised. We're getting increasingly marginalised. The unions, the middle classes, even the sort of radical in this country, like the teachers and so on, and the respectable working classes who vote Conservative are never going to fucking do anything. Never, ever are they going to do anything. Not at the moment anyway, and I don't foresee it for a while. So let the old and the young get together. Let's forge an alliance on the streets and everywhere else as well. Let's stop demonising the young. Let's stop marginalising the old. Let's get together. As I said, if the unions can't do it, and they won't do it, if the left and the anarchists can't do it, and they won't do it, if no one else can do it, let us do it. I don't know how it's going to come about. I don't know how it's going to happen. And what we're winter coming up is obviously probably not going to happen over the next 6 months. But next summer, let's see the young and the old get together. Now, you might listen to me and say, oh, this guy's a fantasist. Oh, he's always ranting and raving. But you've got to remember this. One of these days, one of the things I say like this will happen. And when it does happen, I'll be happy and I will be there along with my peers. All right, then, that's my message to the young. And my message to the old, really, is like, stop attacking the young, stop believing what you read in the Daily Mail, get together with your grandkids and get out onto the streets, There's plenty of kids out there are fucking brilliant, and let's join with them and so on. And we've got a lot of experience, and we've got a lot of solidarity to offer them. So I think, they're very young and they're very old. We might make a really good team together, and then we might pull in people that are in the unions and the teachers and so on and so forth. So anyway, on that upbeat message, as winter approaches, I bid you from this particular podcast, which has run over 10 minutes, bye.